Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty. It is a beautiful day here in Johnson City. It's spring, the flowers are blooming, grass is growing. We're mowing grass now. It's warm, and then it's getting cold, and it'll probably snow some more. And so I am super excited because Mitch McGarry, the owner of Maypop Media, along with his wife Marissa, is coming on the podcast today, folks. He is going to be my interviewee. He and I are going to chat about how to buy a house. So in case anybody was wanting to know all the processes, all the steps, all the things you have to do to buy a house.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, Mitch. Good. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming behind.
Sorry if I interrupted your intro there.
You didn't at all. You came back from your computer and all your screens and
all the buttons,
high-tech stuff, and cords doing things. I have no idea what they do, but you do, and you're doing it. And so, thanks for being my guinea pig today, just allowing me to talk about how to buy a house.
Yeah, I'm happy to help.
Good news is, I think you bought a house, right?
We did, yeah, fairly recently too. So
bad news is you bought it with somebody else.
We didn't.
You didn't use the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty.
We did not.
Okay, well, let's just start there, Mitch.
I don't think I think I just barely met you when we were looking for a house. So
yeah, so you didn't know.
Yeah,
really.
I didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know what you didn't know. So how did you find your agent? Let's go there.
So it was a friend that we have, someone that we had actually done some walkthroughs for her real estate business. She Heard Realty was the brokerage. Is that what it's called, brokerage?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Firm,
so
brokerage.
The firm, yeah. So
it was a friend at least. At least it was a friend.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Because a lot of people go online, they search for houses in Johnson City. They say, oh, that one looks good.
And then there's usually a realtor attached to the house.
Correct, right at the bottom. Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're looking at. So, where did you guys look for houses?
As far as location goes?
No, just online. How did you do your...
Well, we had we started the whole process with, her name's Julie. We started the whole process with Julie. So we didn't, I guess we looked on realtor.com.
Okay.
But I did notice that there was always a listing agent
or it's not a lot of the listing agents a lot of times. So that would be good if you did get the listing agent because they know about the house in an in-depth deal.
Right.
But a lot of times people just say, I like that house on Pine Street. I'm going to, there's an agent at the bottom. I'm going to click to find out more about it, right?
Yeah.
And so that agent could be the listing agent, could not be the listing agent.
Okay.
They could just pay Zillow or Realtor.com every month to be advertised on there.
Okay, so it's more of
it's an advertising thing, yeah.
I want to be the face of this house or whatever.
They just want to get people business. They want clicks.
It's a way to generate leads, I guess.
Correct. It's all about lead generation.
So they might not have anything to do with the house.
I'm going to say, I don't know how often.
Like a majority of the time, do you think?
It's probably, more than half the time.
Interesting. Sure. I did not know that. So that's a great.
Yeah, right.
It's a great thing to know. Yeah.
The crazy thing is, Zillow will take all the information. So we go and get all the information on the house. Pay lots of money to have it staged in pictures and spend lots of time helping the client get the house ready. And then we just turn all that information over to the internet.
Okay.
And then they pick it up. Well,
the World Wide Web.
World Wide Web. Yep. We dial up. and it goes on the internet, and then Zillow grabs it, right? And because you're a seller, you're like, I want to see it on Zillow. You know? Well, Zillow grabs it, and then they turn around and they say, well, hey, Colin, if you want to advertise on our website, it's going to be $2,000 or $3,000 a month, or however much you want to spend, so that you can get leads back. And I'm like, well, the only reason you have a business is because of us agents out there doing all the work, and it's frustrating, Yeah. And then so. Anyway, lots of people are on there. I get it. We just have to kind of deal with what we're dealt.
Right.
So, good news is you guys had somebody that was better. But I think for a lot of people listening out there, I'd tell you to do your homework. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I think you should use the Colin and Carly Group when you buy a house. But, at least find somebody who's a professional who does it. It's kind of like if you're having a knee replacement are you going to go to the doctor who's done 1 or 2 knees, or are you going to go to the guy who's done 1,000?
Right.
I'm going to go to the guy who's done 1,000 just because I know he's seen it all. And so we've probably sold over 1,000 houses or helped people buy and sell without, in that range. And so I feel equipped to really take care of people, and I feel convicted to do it too. So,
Right.
So step 1, find a great agent.
Find a good agent.
Call me. We'll take care of you. That'd be great. So at that point, we start having a conversation. I want to know what you and your wife want in a house, right? So let's pretend you haven't bought a house.
Yeah.
And we'll go there. So tell me about what you guys are looking for, Mitch, in your house.
Well, for me, we have 2 dogs that are very active. And so for me, I wanted a house that has a yard.
And probably fenced in.
Probably fenced in.
Yep.
Yeah. And a decent sized yard. So maybe a third of an acre minimum. And then I like having a basement.
Yeah.
And
Store stuff.
yeah, store stuff, and
Little
it's
wood
generally
shop.
cooler down there.
Cooler down there.
Yeah. So I grew up in my house that I grew up in. I had a room in the basement. So
I did too.
it was like this dark, cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did as well.
I was
awesome.
I was like a caveman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out only at night.
Yeah. Just grunted and food, mom,
Yeah.
sandwich. Anyways.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is what the
So
starting
that's
of it. This would be a needs analysis, and then I'd probably say, okay, Marissa,
Now Marissa's gonna.
what would you like? And she's like,
She's gonna
well,
say
I
kitchen.
kind of like bedrooms to sleep in,
Yeah.
like 2 or 3, and I kind of like doing, my business inside. I'd like a bathroom or
Yep.
2,
Yep.
and then a kitchen is a big time thing.
Yes.
For me. So
Yep.
normally we just talk to the wives, Mitch, and so they
Yeah,
make
Marissa's got a lot more input on that.
they make the decisions. They're decision makers on the house typically. Like you said, you're a caveman. You can live in a cave.
I could live in a
I
cave.
can live
Yeah.
if Carly's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So we just are like, okay, but I'm with you. I like a basement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd go, okay, well, let's get on. That's anything else. The next question is, hey, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in Johnson City? Do you want to be in Gray or Elizabethan? I think you guys bought in Elizabethan.
Yep, we are in Elizabeth.
And so you could say, where is it? And so what I have the ability to do is help, do searches in a proximity. Like let's say you want to be, since you work downtown, you want to be within 10 minutes of downtown. We can figure that out, right? And then we can search for the exact type of house. And then we start talking about price range. So how much do you want to spend on a house? And you guys go, well, we'd like to stay around 300 if we can.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. And then my next question is, are you pre-approved? Do you have a lender that's going to give you $300,000? And you go, yeah, we haven't done that yet. And so we need to get you pre-qualified at that point, because in this market, it's busy and lenders really want, like buyers and sellers really want to see a pre-approval letter with an offer.
Yeah. Now pre-approval is that based on your credit score and income to debt ratio, that type of stuff?
Great question. Yes. So you'll sit down with a lender. They'll give you, they're kind of going to run it's called pre-approval, but it's not full approval.
Right.
But they're going to say, yes, what's your credit score? Tell us about your income. Tell us about your debts.
Okay.
And then, so then you're like, okay, well, we feel comfortable. And they may tell you, we can afford a $500,000 house, but you're like, I don't really feel comfortable in that price point. And I'm never going to push anybody to buy anything that, they don't feel comfortable with. Don't be house poor.
Yeah.
Just find a great house at a great price and enjoy living there as opposed to stressing out about it. And I feel a lot of people probably in this economy are stressed out about their house payment right now. So,
Right.
With the interest rates going up.
So pre-approval is more of just it's like a brief, this is a ballpark number.
Correct. That is, and it's like a snapshot at that moment. Now you may go out and buy 3 new cars that you have car payments on, and that negatively affects your purchasing power, right? So I tell people like, okay, while you're looking for a house, let's not do anything crazy. Don't go.
Yeah. Don't go buy a brand new car.
Don't buy a ton of furniture for the house ahead of time. We've had people
On
do
a credit
that
card.
on a credit,
especially,
or even through the furniture store.
Right.
They'll finance it, but that shows up.
Anything that shows up on your credit.
Any kind of debt you're accruing is going to show up on your credit, because they pull your credit the day of closing too. They do it again and they go, hey, are you still employed? Are you, have you incurred any other large debts? And unfortunately, we've had people in the past not be able to buy their house because they bought a car or furniture and
Wow.
yeah, it's not a good day when
Yeah.
we have to, the lender's calling and saying, hey, this guy, Mitch, went out and bought a brand new $80,000 truck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a really nice truck, but hopefully you can
Can't live in it.
You
Yeah.
could.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're going to have to live in
That's
it.
right.
now,
You're going to
yeah.
stay in your apartment for a while. So, yeah, so that's the next step is getting a pre-approval and, be comfortable there.
Yeah.
And we've got some great lenders as well.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people get online and find a lender that says, I'll give you a 2% rate. And
Yeah.
a lot of that's clickbait stuff. They're like, hey, well, yeah, we'll give you a 2% rate.
Usually it's like a perfect scenario where
right. There's a lot of fine detail
we'll give you
information.
2% if you have.
Right. It's
Never-
for 3 days, only when the moon's full.
Yeah.
And you can, something.
Sorry, you
weird.
don't qualify for that.
Right. Yeah. But we've got another plan for you, and it's called the regular interest rate at 7%. So you're like, oh, okay. But then you're kind of knee deep in it. And the other problem is I like using a local lender because I can go down the street and like Twan and David Brown, they've been on the podcast, and I could say, David, what's going on with this loan? Or Twan, we haven't heard back from their appraisal. Can we get a hold of these folks?
Right.
And so I can look those guys eye to eye, and they'll go, yeah, we're on it, as opposed to ringing somebody at some cubicle somewhere in the middle of
on hold
nowhere that's got a stack of 2,000 files in front of them. And they're just like, we're just trying to get this done. We don't, have zero interest, in getting it done other than I just want to keep my job. So, so that's step 2 or 3 now. And so,
Do you have specific lenders that you work with?
yeah, we've got a good list of 2 or 3, 4, 5. There are a lot of great people locally.
Yeah.
And it supports the local economy, right? Those folks are buying, they live here, so they're buying stuff. They're hosting podcasts. They're buying cookies and coffee around town and food. And it just kind of supports the whole local economy is what
Have you had them on the podcast?
Yeah, I've had David Brown and
Brown.
Twan on here. I don't know the episode numbers, but we could find them and link them in at the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Both good dudes. And we've got some other great lenders too. So if you're looking for a lender, reach out and we'll connect you. So we're pre-approved. We figured out what you're looking for, kind of. Well,
Area.
Yep. So there's a lot of pre-work, right? And then, it's sounding like a lot, but it's really not too.
It's a pretty simple.
It's pretty simple, pretty fast. And then so we start going looking at houses, which is the fun part, right?
Yeah.
So I'll set you up. You get an email. I text you. If I look at the market every day and see if there's anything new. And I was shooting out texts this morning at 5:30, going, "Hey, this just hit the market. Is it something you're interested in?" And so they, and so you'd see a house that popped up. It's a 3-bedroom, cute little bungalow in Johnson City that's got a fenced-in backyard and a basement and a beautiful kitchen. And you guys are like, "This is awesome,"
Yeah.
And so at that point, I'm going to say, "Well, is this something you feel like you can live in?" You're like, "Well, we don't love what's across the street, or we don't like something about it." Right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, we go look at more houses. Or we go, okay, this is something we see ourselves buying. And then at that point, what do, Mitch?
Put an offer down. Right?
That's right. We put in an offer. And so we want to make sure that looks really good too. And so there's a bunch of different variables that can go into the offer to kind of make it attractive. That's where we feel pretty confident we can help people make their offer look good.
Right.
Yeah. And so then at that point, so you guys make an offer, we send it to you. You all sign it, we meet and sign it in person, however you want to do it. And then we send it to the other agent, and I call the other agent, and I'm like, "Hey, Joe, this is, this couple is really sweet." I go on the advocation side for my people. Like, I'm like, we got to get these folks this house. They love it. They got these 2 dogs, and their backyard's perfect, and Mitch's basement's going to be great. He can go down there and grunt and just, build stuff and come out of there just like a man every day. And we got to get them this house, Joe. And, and so the other thing is we have great relationships with lots of other agents around and have done deals with other agents. So we have a trust factor there that goes a long way, I think, that maybe a newer agent that doesn't have that or doesn't know how to navigate some of those negotiations. And I feel like that's where my skills are a lot.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of my sweet spot is
kind of your network and familiarity with the area.
And the negotiation part and just trying to put the deal together and helping you guys get in the house. And so Joe goes, "Well, I get they want it, but they came in a little low. We're going to counter back. And I go, that's great. And so we get a counter offer. You guys look at the counter offer and you're like, well, we could do, we were wanting to buy it at 250. They came back at 265. I'm saying, let's see if they'll do 260. And we say, sure, and so we send it back over and they go, we really want our 265. We're feeling pretty good about it. House is just on the market for a little while. It's in great shape.
Right.
And so at that point I go, you guys want to do 265? And you all think about it and pray about it and say, yeah, we're good with that. At that point we go under contract.
Right.
And so, we're under contract. Now a lot of the work starts too on our end and your end. We go
Quick question for you. With that initial agreement on the offer, when you make an offer and counter offer and all that, and make the agreement, is that where you can you add in, because I know you can negotiate more things like closing costs and all that. Can you do that after the initial agreement, or is that where you want to make that?
Yeah, on the front end it's better to know, like
Okay.
if you need closing cost dollar assistance, that's a question I
It's
would
good
have
to
asked.
do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that
right with the offer.
We'd find that out in your initial meeting. Like,
Okay.
what do we need? And one of my questions is, do you guys have cash to put into the deal?
Yeah.
In this market right now, asking for closing costs doesn't make your offer look good. So
Right.
I'd say, hey, if you can get away with not asking for that.
Yeah.
But I get it, right? Closing costs are expensive. They're about
Yeah.
2 to 3% of the loan amount. So if you're borrowing, say, $200,000, it could be, $6,000-8,000
Yeah.
towards.
And that's why I asked that, because that was something we didn't really know going into the process. We knew you needed to have money down, or you wanted to have money down. I know there's options that you don't have to, but yeah, we didn't know how much closing costs were going to be. We didn't realize you could ask the seller to add that into the price that you agree on. So yeah, it's good to know when we.
Yeah, on the front end.
You could do a whole episode on that too, but
Yeah, we could. We could talk about closing costs and
so I
negotiations.
didn't mean to go too
No,
deep
that's
on
good,
that, but
because there are probably a lot of people going, how much do I have to have down?
Yeah.
And luckily there are lots of programs now out there where you don't have to have a whole lot down. FHA is 3.5% down, and then you could get the seller to do the closing costs, so you could do that. If you buy out in the county in like a rural area or like a less populated area, USDA kicks in, and they will do 100% financing. So you can get in for not much at all at that point, which is a huge blessing when you're getting started, right?
Yep, that's really
And I love helping people get started. Like, it just gives me so much joy helping find that first house. We've got some folks from church getting ready to buy a house, and it's just exciting. We're happy for them.
It's honestly the most challenging part of getting into real estate is that first house, that first property, and
Getting over the hurdle, right?
once you get into it, you've got the equity now, so you can sell your house to buy another house.
That's right.
You kind of have that.
Yeah, and I think it's a huge wealth building opportunity. It's like forced savings, right?
Yeah,
Every month
yeah.
you're putting making your payment, and you're hitting some of the principal, so you're putting money into a bank account. Now you're paying a lot of money in interest on the first 5 years is a lot of interest. So the banks are doing really well. There's a reason there's one on every corner.
Yep.
But appreciation helps too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and that's always kind of our question too. So I'm like, let's say this house we were talking about, theoretically you're going to buy at 265. I'm looking at it and I'm going, can you sell this later for 300? Is this going to be a 300 house? Well.
And is that looking at maybe room for improvements, that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
and the
so-
market trends as well.
Neighborhood area, where is it at in the city? Is that area developing? Is a big one, probably.
Yeah.
Market trends, yes and no. You just don't have a crystal ball.
You never
there.
know.
You don't
Yeah.
know, but we tell everybody you make money when you buy, not when you sell. So if you buy it for the right price, you're always going to be able to get out of it.
Yeah.
You're always going to hopefully make money on it. And
Right.
so, luckily we've helped a lot of people buy right, and now they're realizing a lot of those rewards. And so it's a lot of
good.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what do you do with that cash? And it's a lot of fun. It's a huge wealth builder for a lot of people. So,
Right.
Yeah. So we're under contract now,
Yeah.
Mitch. We got our deal signed. Their agent signed it. We bound it, and everything goes off the binding agreement date. So we have you have 5 days per the contract to apply for a loan, get that part going.
Okay.
You've already talked to a lender though, so you're ahead of the game.
Yep.
Pre-approved. Now they want every dollar you ever spent, you bought coffee this morning. Why'd you do that? Well, do you buy coffee every day? Let's look at your whole history, and like, because they want to make sure that you are going to be able to pay the money back.
Your coffee to water ratio is
Right.
awful.
Yes.
So
they're like, you eat out way too much, Colin. And I'm like, we do, but that's just part of it. So, they're going to want to know like where every dollar came from in income.
yep.
They're probably going to want like you to sign off on a kid or a dog if you don't have any kids. Like
Right.
here's, we pledge our dog. Should we not pay,
And there's a big us being self-employed. That's a whole nother
that is a
thing
whole
too.
nother deal.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Again, that's why we get pre-approved.
Yeah.
Because it hurts my heart when we go show people houses and then they're like, okay, well, I just started this new business.
Yep.
I'm a podcaster guy and,
I just quit my job or
right.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, okay. So
Yeah.
typically if you're let's say you started a new job and it's in the same field that you were in before.
Yeah.
They just need a few months of income to prove that you were in this new job.
Right.
Or if you have a contract with a company, they'll take that sometimes. But if you started something new, it's hard. It's like a year or 2 years before you can buy.
Yeah.
Because they want to see a history of income from your position, which it makes sense.
Yeah,
You would
absolutely.
give somebody a couple $100,000 if you didn't think they could pay it back. So I get it. Then we also, while that's happening, the lender's working on stuff. They're going to order an appraisal. Our team helps you line up a home inspector. We get let's say a septic inspection if it's on septic, radon. If you want to, anything specific, like, oh, we need to get a foundation inspection done because the first inspector found a crack in it. Let's get that taken care of too. So we do all that. We line all that up and make sure that's smooth. And then let's say the house comes back and there's, 5 or 6 things that the home inspection revealed. And that's their job, right? They're going to find something. Oh, the gutter's loose or the back door doesn't close or whatever it is. We're going to negotiate those things. So we'll put a list together, send it to the other agent, say, hey, these are the 5 things we want done. Other agent goes, yeah, we'll fix the top 3. The other little 2 on the end, we're not fooling with. At that point, you guys go, okay, we're good with that or not. We really want those other 2 things done. We can send it back. So there's like a lot of repair proposaling going back and forth until we have a repair amendment that we add to the agreement, which states these are the things that are going to happen before closing. And so then we kind of follow up on that, right?
And you can like shave a little bit off. Like
you could also take a cash credit. Yeah, you could say we're going to cut the price.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that doesn't help people, right?
No.
I mean, like if you cut the price a couple $1,000s and you don't have the $2,000 to fix the HVAC unit or whatever it is, it's not working. It's kind of like, oh, well, great. We need a new water heater. And so we need the new water heater ahead of time.
Right.
Or we could maybe add some cash to closing costs. This is where we could come back in and say, well, give us $3,000 in closing costs to offset the repairs.
Right.
And you guys go, okay, we're good with that because that keeps cash in your pocket that you're going to have to pay.
That you'll have to,
Then
do
you
the
could
repairs.
in turn go buy a water heater, and then what water heater you're buying. You're
Right.
having the person you like install it. So it's a little more you're in control. Not that it's a huge deal, but because we go back and we could have the inspector go back and look at the items that were repaired, or we go and look at it and you go, this looks great.
Yeah. But there's room for negotiation and figuring out a win-win situation for the buyer and the seller.
There is at that point. However, in the market we're in, sometimes like if you've got backup offer, let's say that this house, Joe had the house and you guys got it for $265. Well, he may have a backup offer for $260, $265. We don't know. Like somebody else came like the next day and said they want to buy it. As soon as we ask for repairs, we're back into negotiations, like you said. And they can say, no, we're not fixing anything, and we're going to terminate the contract because you asked for repairs. And we're going to go with this other contract that's full cash, no contingencies. They don't have to get an appraisal. They don't have to.
They're ready to move in now.
They're ready to move in. They don't care that it needs a new water heater. That guy sells water heaters all day long. I don't know. He's got a truck full of them, but they're ready to go. And so at that point, we're like, oh, we didn't know that. So that's where I'm talking to Joe and going, hey, now if we ask for repairs, do you guys, is that going to go okay? Do you have another offer? And Joe sometimes would have to tell it. He doesn't have to tell me, I guess, but we would. I feel like my relationship with Joe would be like, I'd be like, dude.
Well, like what you were saying earlier is, your strong point in the market, right, or in your industry is that you've got that network and you've built that trust and So you can kind
Because
of,
I wouldn't want I wouldn't want to do that to Joe. I'd tell
Right.
him, yeah, no, we've got a backup, and your people really love the house, and so how can we work this
Yeah.
out, and so ahead of time. But let's say we get through that and you get repairs done, we're headed towards closing, right? And the lender's doing all the stuff they're doing. They're still sending it to underwriting. They're looking at your credit. They're looking at your job. They're calling your employer, making sure you're employed. You got to get all this other stuff to them. And then we're headed to closing. Title work's being done. This is another thing that we're making sure that the house is free and clear of any encumbrances or liens. And so you want to buy a house that doesn't owe, nobody owes anything on it. And so that's why you want to make sure you close at either a title company or an attorney's office, or go to the courthouse and make sure you get a deed search done. But title companies do a lot of heavy lifting to make sure that you're protected. And then you can also get title insurance that says, hey, if the title company screwed up, or maybe not this title company, but 2 title companies ago didn't see
Something happened,
something's kind of in the wings that didn't show up, and one day it does show up, and you're like, oh, this is my grandfather's house. I was supposed to be able to inherit it. I've got a napkin where he signed it in blood, and the guy next door was, there was actually an attorney sitting at the bar that said, yeah, I'll stamp that. And
his notary.
it's notarized. And you're like, oh,
His bar
crap.
buddy was
Yeah,
also
so
his
at that
notary.
point, his bar buddy, yes. So at that point, you would be like, oh, well, we're gonna get our title policy in place and see what, and so you've got all the attorneys working for you, and so I don't think you'd ever lose the house. They'd probably pay out the guy to go away or whatever. I don't know how that works, but at least you're covered, right? For you're covered, which is a huge thing. So title insurance is definitely a good thing. We buy it on all the properties that we get, because it's important to make sure you're protecting that investment. And then so it's day of closing. Well, the day before, a couple days before, we'll go back to the house. Maybe they've moved out, and we want to make sure that the house looks the same as when you guys walk through it. But when it did, typically there's furniture and stuff in there, right? And so, oh, they moved the couch and the floors are scratched, or whatever. Like, we need to deal with that. We didn't realize that there was a hole in the wall behind the chair or whatever. Whatever the little things are, we just deal with it. But most of the times, people move out, house is clean, you guys are excited, we're moving on. Next day we go to closing. This is where it's fun, because you sign 1,000 documents saying you're going to pay back this loan. You're going to pay it back. You're going to pay it back. You're going to pay it back. And then you sign your deed, and it's, this is the new house for Mitch and Marissa. And we're done. And the other guy gets his $265,000, and he's happy. And you guys got a house, and you get the keys, and we're all excited. And so you get to move in at that point. That's
Dogs are running around in the backyard.
Dogs are running around. You're cussing me because you have boxes and couches you're having to move and heavy furniture, but at least you're in your house. And so that's kind of the process. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great summary.
It was a long summary.
Yeah.
I guess there's a lot that goes.
It wasn't that bad. No. You can go into depth on pretty much every step. There's a lot of things that come up and that you're not aware of. You don't know what you don't know a lot of times, especially for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, I think too, on inspections, I'm not going to say I've seen everything, but I've seen almost everything. And so we've dealt with a lot of stuff and know how to deal with it, or know a guy that can fix it that's not $1 million, and so I think that's another point of our strength is being in the business a long time, is we can help navigate you through that. And there are sometimes, you just got to say, hey, we can't get this fixed, or we can, but the seller's not going to give $10,000 to fix a foundation, and so let's just pull the ripcord and get out of here, and we get you out, protect your earnest money. That was another thing we didn't talk about, is earnest money. You need to put down a little cash on the front. Once we go under contract, you put down some money to hold that contract as
right, and that helps
binding.
Yeah, and that just goes to the buyer or the seller, right? That's just extra money. It doesn't go.
So no, the earnest money doesn't go. Well, it sort of goes to the seller. So
Does it go towards the purchase price?
It does, yes,
Okay.
sir. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it would kind of go to the seller at the end.
So if
but-
you did $1,000,
Yeah, so $1,000, let's say but you typically write that to the firm you're dealing with. Like
Okay.
you write that out to Keller Williams Realty.
you wouldn't pay it directly to
The seller, no, don't do that. That would be bad.
Yeah.
They could just run off and
Because that gives you, putting it through the firm gives you that
protection.
assurance.
So we
yeah.
hold it in an escrow account, and then
Something going on out there.
yeah, there's police coming to get me. We put it in we put it in an escrow account that says, if everything goes as per the contract, then we'll disperse this at closing and it goes towards your purchase price.
Right.
If let's say they breach the contract and you get that back, the seller screws it up. Now let's say that you breach the contract. Well, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the earnest money because let's say we got through inspections, the house praised, we did everything we were supposed to do, and at the end you go, hey, we're
Cold
just
feet.
not the house for us,
Yeah.
And I've had this happen. And so I'm like, well, Mitch, you're going to lose that $1,000. And they can sue you for performance, meaning they want you to buy the house because they found another house down in Florida where they're using their $265,000.
They're pending. Yeah. It's pending.
It's contingent on that.
Yeah.
And so they could be like, we did everything we said per the contract. You're the one who breached the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get into either mediation or you can go to court over it. So
Yeah.
it's I would tell people don't back out just on a whim. Like it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
So
it can be a really big deal.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
So to summarize the whole buying a house,
Okay.
let's do the steps one more time.
Okay.
And we'll recap.
Step 1, call me to help you find out.
Call Colin.
Step 2, let's get you pre-qualified with a lender. So you're pre-approved, pre-qualified, whatever you want to call it. Step 3, let's do a little needs analysis. Let's figure out what you want. I want to figure out what's exciting for you in a house. Step 4, we go find it, right? So may look at 5 houses. We may go look at 20. I don't know. And once we find that house, step 5 would be, let's get it under contract. Step 6 is applying for your loan, getting all that side of it done. 7's inspections, getting all that done. Once we get through that, really you're at step 8 would be a walkthrough, and step 9 is closing.
Closing. Yep.
Yeah.
The 9
easy steps to getting in a house.
Yep.
And we make it look easy.
And step 10 is enjoy. Enjoy your house.
That's right. Kick back on the back deck, watch your dogs play, drink a beer.
Relax. You did it.
You did it. Congratulations. And we are super happy. So celebrate. 10 is celebration time.
Have a drink.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Play some
Cornhole
Lionel
maybe?
Richie.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great song to have.
We should start playing that at every closing.
And enjoy your gift basket, right?
That's right. Carly will
Carly.
give you, like, if you're buying a house, she goes, what do they like? They've got dogs. They like this. They like pancakes, whatever. She'll put a basket together that blows your socks off that says, hey, we are super excited for you and we want you to enjoy this house. And thanks for allowing us to be a part of your story and helping you buy the house. Because it is a story, right? And it's an intimate deal, man. Like, you're going to be buying a house where you and Marissa may be having kids or raising chickens or whatever it is that's exciting to you. That's a big thing, and that's what we care about. We want you to be happy. Like, I want to help you get there, and be a part of your journey.
It's kind of a new chapter in everyone's life. Each house kind of
it is.
represents a new stage or whatever. Yeah.
And then I'm going to stay in touch with you. We're going to be friends, hopefully forever. And then one day you're going to go, hey, you know what? We've outgrown our house. We need a new house. And you're going to call me and we're going to sell that house and go find another one.
Or investments, right?
Or investments. That's right. You could say, you know what? We found another house we want to buy to rent out. Or we want to keep this house and rent it out and buy another one, which is a good way to continue to grow. And I think that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Like, just keep that house and rent it out. And we can help you do that too. We can help you rent it out so you don't have to worry about it.
So there's a lot of things that
it's multifaceted.
They can contact you for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Contact me for, and if you just want to talk and say, we're even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like maybe 2 years out. I don't know. call me.
Get the
I'd love
conversation started.
I'd love to talk about it. Yes, I love helping people. I love doing what I do. I feel uniquely gifted
Yeah.
to be able to be in the space where I get to help people.
Yep.
And Carly and I just love it. It's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got a great team that will take great care of you.
Yeah.
You'll get to meet our friend Tammy, who does all the paperwork, all the stuff that I do not like doing. She loves it. Like the Lord made her in an amazing way. So it's good. But she doesn't like to go out and show houses. So she's like, I don't want to go do that. Or I don't want to go drum up business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go hit the music and you can close
That
it.
sounds great.
All right.
See you, bro. Thank you guys for listening to Mitch and I talk about how to buy a house today. I hope it was informative. It was a little disjointed at times, but the main point is we want to take care of you and help you find a great house in our market, whether it's Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City, anywhere in the region. We would love to help you find your dream house and be a part of that process for you, and we'll take great care of you. Until next time, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. We would love to help you build wealth here if you're interested in property investing, and you can even manage it. We do a lot of property management too. So if you're needing to sell or buy or invest, just give us a call. Thanks and have a great day.